want to argue that our wisdom comes from God. Our wisdom comes from the Holy Spirit. Why? Because Jesus says of the Holy Spirit, He shall teach you of everything that I've told you. Amen. He shall remind you of everything that I've taught. Therefore, we need the Holy Spirit so that we can be wise in the things of God. Right, let's go back to the parable of the prodigal son. By the way, when I was given this topic, I was asked to talk about the parable of a perfect father. Like I'm talking to men. You know, I was excited when I saw the youth because I thought they were going to be in here as well. Because this refers to them as well. But anyway, you will tell them. Tell them exactly what we are going to discuss here. Don't paraphrase it and change it to suit yourself. Just tell them exactly what we are going to be saying here. Now, when you look at this parable here, the first thing that we see, I'm going to have to cut it short because of our time and leave out a couple of things. Just like any parable, a parable is not the real thing that happened. It is a story. It is an illustration. It is something that you are told which is pregnant with a lesson in it. So what we are learning from here is not what happened, but it is the story behind the parable. Jesus taught in parables a lot, which is why I also enjoy preaching and talking in stories. The first thing that we see here, I was a bit not decided as whether to say this, but let me. Can you hear me if I don't use the mic? Yes. All right. Usually I've got a loud enough voice, as all teachers do. I wanted to tell you a story about one of the daughters as they were conversing with the father. I've told this story before. You have probably heard it many times elsewhere. This girl comes to the father and says, how much do you make an hour at work? And by just looking at you here, very few of you tell your children how much money you have. Very few of you. And I was tempted to say, can you show me by raising your hand? Those of you that have actually told your children how much you earn. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to embarrass you. Because some of you don't even tell your partners anyway. Don't tell your wives how much you earn. Anyway, this little girl says, how much do you make an hour? And this man says, why do you want to, why are you asking? I provide you with everything. I buy food, I buy this, I buy uniforms, I send you to school. Why do you want to ask? I only want to know how much you make in just 1 hour. And then he said, no, just go. And then doesn't answer the question. And then when he's on his own, he begins to think. And he said, but why was she asking me all these things? And this is very important, by the way. When your kids ask you something, there's always something behind it. And sometimes we just push them away and not get the reason behind why they were asking. All he's thinking of is, hey, maybe she wants a little bit of money. He wants more pocket money. That's not what she wanted. Sometimes we make wrong assumptions. Let's ask them what they want. They will tell us. We've got wonderful kids, especially growing up these days. They will say their mind, frankly as well, things that we never did. So this girl says, the father goes back the following day and says, I'm sorry I didn't answer your question. I make 10 pounds an hour. Why did you want to know that? And then she just jumps off her seat, quickly runs to her bedroom, gets the them piggy banks, where they put their coins and every time when they've got change, before you teach your kids to save, they'll find a way of saving. Then she breaks that piggy bank and start counting. Then when she gets to 10 pounds, it was actually $10. This story happened in America. She says to her father, here is $10. can I have just 1 hour of your day tomorrow when we finish? Just 1 hour. I'm paying you for that hour. And you know, it brought tears to this guy. But I am not giving my child enough time. Because sometimes that's all they need. That's all they need. Fortunately, those of you who are tough luck. Sasithi nasikhula thina kudala baba besithi abantwana melanga amagogoso emelele kuthiwa mele bakhulisele emasendeni kumele azi ubuhlungu abantwana kade sebegijima bafike bahlala emadolweni sesibambambatha and everything like that. They were against those things, but it was those days. I want to make you understand it was those days. Today, some of the best things that we can do to our children is to show them love. Why? Because there is no love out there. The world has become so bad, it is unbelievable. If you don't believe this, just see the changes that are happening in the world. Just see the changes see the things that are allowed to happen now, which never used to be there. And imagine how our children have to cope with things like this. Now, the first thing that we see in this man here is that the prodigal son, as he goes back to the father, our verse says, my son, the father saying, my son, affectionately, my son. And this is the bit that really worries me, that sometimes our children don't feel the affection that they need to feel from us. How many times have you called your son, my son, or my daughter? How many times have you addressed them that way? These days they are so free, it's unbelievable. Hey, you guys, something that we never experienced. But you know, the way teenagers understand the lie about guys is not the way that they understand. When they say guys, they mean we are together, we are the same. It's different meaning to them. If I say gay to you today, what comes to your mind is not what we knew, Tina. Gay meant happy. And Mary, Mary, King of the Bushes. Gay, Kukapura, love, Kukapura, love. Kukapura, your life must be wonderful. Life must be. The meaning has changed altogether. But I want us to be able to show affection to our children. It is important because of the kind of world that we live in. We need to show this. He says, my son. And remember, he says, my son, to the guy that had not listened to him, that had asked for everything that the father could give them even before they died, and went and spent it and squandered everything. And then when he comes back, he says, my son. How many times have your kids made a mistake and you said, Lokulako? You don't want to associate with them. You want to remove them away from you. But this man, what happened here is, wrong as he had been, the father says, my son. Hallelujah. I am telling you now, Bazarwan, if someone has wronged you, but you come back with love, you actually destroy everything. You can try it with your children. When they've made something wrong, when they've done something wrong and they come back to you, they're thinking punishment. They're thinking you're taking the PlayStation away from them. They're thinking you're taking the phone away from them. They're thinking they're going to lose TV or this or that or pocket money, whatever it is that you use to discipline your kids. Because unfortunately, good enough. It's up to you. But what is important here is while they are expecting punishment, you come back with love. Do you know, if there's anything that will change them faster, it is that. It is not saying again and angry and things, but if you come with love and say, my son, I love you. Whatever you did is not you. I hate what you did, but I love you. And I want you to know that. Do you know, you will make them think, even if they had an excuse to give, it just disappears. Just like that. That excuse just melts and is gone. And this is what I want us to learn from this parable. He says, my son. Look at what he says next. Look at what he says next. I'll make sure I give you time so that we discuss this. Maybe I need to go very quickly when the things that we need to talk about. And everything I have is yours. Hallelujah. Amen. And everything I have is yours. This is a challenge. This is a challenge, Bazawa. How many of you have actually told your children today, you know, everything that I have here is yours. The house is yours. The cars are yours. The bank balance that I've got is all yours. How many of you have actually told them that everything that I have is actually yours? You know, one thing that we, as we were growing up, that we knew for definite is we knew we knew it very well. Yeah. They didn't even have to tell us. Yeah. Those because and you raised them like this and everything because you knew really. What are we having today? Like this man, everything I have is mine. This man was very rich, by the way. He had a lot of things. In spite of everything that he had given to this guy, he still had lots of things, as we are going to see when the other brother complains. But how many of us can actually say to our children, you know, everything that I've got here is yours. At the moment, if I were to die today, you have 120,000 in the bank for yourselves. How many of you will tell your kids that? I've got a life insurance, and when I die, it pays so much, and that's all going to be yours. We don't tell them, do we? If it's a home, they don't know. We don't want to say those things, but this man says to this guy, everything that I've got is yours. Now, I've already said he had lots of things. So he can say that with confidence, everything that I have is yours. Do you know the reason why sometimes we don't tell our children that everything that we have is theirs? It's because we don't have anything. We don't have. If you told them that, they would say, Dad, what do you have? And then the bank balance, how much do you have in the bank? If you are lucky, you've got a couple of £100 in the bank. Otherwise, it is an overdraft. How many of us are using overdraft? Are you going to live on overdraft? So you can't tell them that everything that I've got is yours because you don't have nothing. What is the challenge then to us men today? You need to think about what you should have so that you can leave that to your children. Abantwana ngabathi nxa ufile baduduzeke ukuthi hayi uhambile kodwa usichiyele lokhu la lokhu la lokhu asandule. Angibona amakhiwa kwesinye isikhathi sebeze befisa ukuthi umzali afe because they know what they are getting. And it breaks my heart sometimes. They are now interested in what they are going to get rather than interested in the welfare of the parent who is dying. But that's beside the point. The challenge to us here is, what do you have that you are going to leave to your children? And I think we need to think very seriously about this, because this is where we make or break our children. Some people, when they die, their children rise up because they know they've got a house. They know they've got a big bank balance. They know they've got maybe a business that has been left to them. What do you have? What do you have that you're going to give to your children? You think about it, because we're going to ask these questions and we're going to discuss about these things that we can leave for our children. Because if we don't think about them, we're not going to do anything. What are we going to do? I know some parents have even created accounts for their children, and they bank into these accounts a little bit every month. And by the end, when you pass, there will be a lot of money in those accounts for children to benefit. We're going to talk about that. Be thinking about it, what are we as men in the Men's Fellowship of the Brethren in Christ Church 2022 at Dalestown, what are we going to leave to our children? Right, I'm going to leave all this. Let's go back to our verse. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget everything that I've written and just use the verse to guide us. But we have to celebrate. He says, everything that I have is yours. But we have to celebrate and be glad. You see, at this point, you actually begin to remember what has happened, isn't it? You know that the bigger brother is complaining. You can't be doing this. No, I'm not going to be part of this. Why? Because this guy has wasted everything that you gave him. Now you want us to celebrate. You have not celebrated anything for me. You're asking me to find the fattest cow. You have not done that to me, but I've been here all along. You're not doing this to me. Ngabona umuntu owayekhona wahamba wasenzela into zakhe sebuya esesiba welcome. This is not fair, this. I mean, I have been doing everything. But everybody is pleased. Is happy about this guy who has been disappeared for a whole year. We have to celebrate when something like this happens. Amen. He says to his eldest son, we have to celebrate. Amen. This is a challenge to every one of us, to celebrate every little thing that happens in our family. Everything. And results. This is what I got. And the father and the mother were saying, why did you get an F? in maths. Why? I mean, I'm passing maths. Why passing maths? Why did you get an F in maths? They're complaining, and then the child says, but I got A's in everything else. Why are you looking at the thing that I didn't get? Why don't you look at the other things that I got? Why don't you say, well done, you got A in English. Well done, you got A in geography or whatever subject. And this is the kind of thing that we do all the time. We look at the bad things and forget about the good things that happen. And I'm saying to us today, maybe as a challenge to us as men, let us celebrate every success. It doesn't matter how it has come. Let's celebrate. Enjoying the fact that they've passed one subject and we have celebrated that. They've come home with a license and we have celebrated that. What about the parties in which the license? Because you don't know how the struggles that they went through just to obtain that license. If you're forgetting, think about how you did before you got your license. You learned after 5 times. You tried 5 times. And I'm being generous here. So when they come with just that day, when they pass the license, just celebrate that with them. As I want to be honest, if we were celebrating his successes in our families would be different. It's not just we don't celebrate anything in our families at all. Promote him 17. How? If you celebrated that and said, you know what, but Umamako has been promoted himself, she's now the manager, so I guess celebrating his success. Do you know what she's going to do? She's going to use that success for the family. Amen. But yet you can celebrate that and enjoy it together. It's where you were the only breadwinner. Sometimes our wives earn more money than us. And we have to accept that. And when we accept it right, they will know their place. And that is not going to be an issue in our marriages. That's one other thing that we need to discuss. Wives who earn more money than you. No, I'm not going to ask that. But what I can ask is, are we celebrating each other's success? When they do well at work, when they come back with a promotion, you celebrate that. Because that is key. It is important. It makes a difference in our families and in our lives. Because your brother was dead and he is alive again. Now, that bit there is applicable even in our lives. When we celebrate the success of someone else in the family, it changes things in people's lives. It's like a transformation of death into life. Because the life in the family begins to, and the dynamics in the family begin to change. Just because you have celebrated the success of your wife at work, or of your wife getting being successful with her weight loss or something like that. You've got to celebrate that. They work so hard. And if you are the first person to recognize that, it means a lot to them. You know, you have lost a lot of weight. Can you tell me what are you doing? People recognize. Abanye khona phana ngayo umamaza athi ayiqeda 3 hours elungisa inwele zakhe. Ebuya ekhaya vele don't even see. Changing hairstyle at all. Don't even see. Wonder kuphela angahamba to the extreme afika nje ageli inwele bese kuye egeli. That's when you realize what have you done? But I've been changing my hairstyles for so many times, and you have not even realized anything, any changes at all. So let's recognize things that are happening. You know, you make it an effort to say, every time something new happens, I've got to realize it and celebrate it. It will change your marriage, it will change your life. Yes. Ezindaba zibuhlungu ngathi bazalwane. Kodwa nje kumele sizenze. Abanye bathi ya mfazi ngambuka kakhulu yathi sethwala ikhanda. Umbuke. It's not going to make a problem. Right. The last thing that I want to talk about, and then we discuss a few things, is, and this is very key. It really touches my heart. What this father is doing here, Azaman, is that there is a war. There is friction between his two sons. Serious friction. If left untouched, if left undealt with, these guys will kill each other. It is that bad. It is that bad. Because this guy was turning around and saying, I'm not going to be part of this. It's not happening. But the way the father is, the way the father deals with this, the way he brings them together, is maybe what the Lord says, that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Amen. He brings peace between his brothers. Do you know what the worst wars are in families? Those are the worst wars in families. And I've watched with pain in some families where people are actually fighting each other and say, you know, I'm not even going to their wedding. As Kolomisani, I'm not going to go to their wedding. But it's your sister, it's your brother. And you're not talking to them. It is really bad. It's one of the things that I was talking to my children about, and saying, if there's anything that I want you to do for me, is to love each other. The four of you should love each other. One of you, and I figure, maybe traveling from Manchester to London, because two of my kids are in London, and don't have a place to stay. Now they teach, they can sleep in there. I don't want any one of you saying, Nilanda, you should have told me in advance so that I would have sorted. No, there's no advance with family. It doesn't matter what time you got to Islo Sangagini, you got fed and you got a place. It didn't matter how small it was. And this is one thing that I've stressed, and I thank God that up to now, they are still like that. One of them was saying, my son was looking for India because he had rented his house in London, because he's touring the UK at the moment, and he was going back, and he says, I'm looking for a place, and one of my friends promised me a place, but it's no longer available. And when my eldest son said, I am hurt, really hurt, that you have consulted other people and not me first as your brother. You should have come to me first. This is why we're told as we're growing up. As for you looking for a place, you don't even have to ask me. You should just say, I'm coming. That's all that you need to do. And I said, this is exactly what I want with them. Now, this father is saying to these guys, because he sees that they're going to destroy each other. And it's not only going to destroy themselves, that's the two of them, they're going to destroy their families as well, because this is where it goes. He says, what has happened here is that your brother was dead, but now he's alive again. and we have to celebrate. It does say we think, or maybe we should say, it says we have to. Azalwane, when our family members go wrong and they correct their wrongs, we've got to forgive them.
Yeah.
Without condition, we've got to. This is what he's saying. We have to celebrate. Lati, when people make a mistake in our families and they come back and say, I'm sorry, we have no choice but to accept that apology and start again. What is interesting is in this scripture is that we are not told what happened. But when you read it, you can actually see that the party went on. And this is what is beautiful, that the party went on and they enjoyed themselves. And I'm saying to you today, by just forgiving one person around, you start a ripple that will affect all other people. You know what? This is what happens when we forgive even just one person. An act of kindness. One guy says, as he was about to cross the road, there's this guy with a session on his back, and then it opens and all his papers fall to the ground. And he says, I knelt down, picked all the papers, put them back in his pack, and he said, oh, do you know what? Turned around, thank you very much. And you know when someone says thank you very much, it does something in your life. It produces some in our bodies. We feel nice by so doing. But I want to challenge you that it is not just you who has done well, who has done that good act, who benefits by feeling nice. It is other people who are also watching. Even the person that you have helped feels nice that, you know, some people are very good in this world and they are helpful. Not only is the person that you are helping also feeling nice, but even people that are watching. Because he says this, he crossed the road. When he got to the other side of the road, someone just tapped him on the shoulder and said, I saw what you did there. That's very good. Thank you very much for doing that. So what we do does not only affect us and the people that we are dealing with, it affects other people as well. And he was saying, I am sure that when he left, this guy who was watching, not the guy who was helped, the guy who was watching, he went and helped other people as well. So what I'm saying to us today, as hard as it might be, we need to forgive one another. Because it's very honestly, but I probably have done it many times. Probably you have done it many times as well. But I'm saying to us today, this guy says, your brother was dead, he's alive again. So he brought them together. Are we not going to do the same and bring each other back to God? It's going to make a big difference. And it starts with that act, or you know what, I forget everything that has happened. I'll stretch my hand and greet. I'll stretch my hand and welcome. I'll stretch my hand and forgive. When you start to do that, that's when everything starts. And before you know it, the whole church is a forgiving church, is a loving church. Amen. Men's fellowship, it becomes wonderful. And who know that, yeah. I was going to talk a little bit about that, because one of the things that this guy benefits from is that when he left to go back to the Father, he expected to be accepted by his Father. He knew what had happened back home. And it is the environment at home that brought him back. It is the environment in our homes that will bring our children back home. It doesn't matter to bahlanya njani besakhula. It will bring them back because they know, nkhaya sasikhuleka, nkhaya sasithandana. And it is the environment in the church that will bring people back. When they know that this is a forgiving church, this is a loving church. When they've gone, because you get surprised, but we know it's the devil, isn't it? When they are out there, about the world giving them all the things that they had never expected, do you know what they will remember? You know, one of the places where I felt safe, I felt loved, I felt welcome. I am going to go back. Sendiniwe. Ngalawa abantu engasithi ngiyakholisa ngawo. Banthelela imkhuhlane, bangifakela ama drugs, bangenza konke lokho. I know I'm welcomed there. And there is peace, there is love, and I'll go back. So let's do the right things, and people are going to come back. Amen. Amen. All right.